Right now on Denver 7 News at 8 o'clock on Local 3, FBI agents raid Donald Trump's Florida home. The new details on the documents seized from Mar-a-Lago.
I think it's high time that we've seen the government finally take some action against this man.
It's wrong. It's wrong. They shouldn't be doing this to him.
CDOT is looking into what went wrong when floodwaters clogged Central 70 Sunday. It happened at a newly constructed stretch of highway, so why didn't systems designed to prevent this work?
Also, back to school is breaking the bank for several families and teachers. How a local district is making sure everyone has the supplies they need to start the year. So important.
Yeah, our kids are back at school.
They
First day down.
A success, day one. They wanted to go back for day two, so that's a success.
That's a good sign, yes. Thanks for staying with us. I'm Nicole Brady.
I'm Brian Sanders. A huge situation on our roadways this morning. A hazmat situation has closed I-25 down in the Denver Tech Center. Colette Bordelon has been monitoring this situation, which has been going on for hours, Colette.
That crash happened just before 3 a.m. and while crews are clearing it up, someone's up in a hot air balloon right now, and Air Tracker's on that. But let's take you over to what Air Tracker had shot of that hazmat situation. So this is the backup right now that you can see. That's down there on 25 northbound near the Bellevue exit. This is less than 100 gallons of diesel that was spilled by a box truck. It was the only vehicle involved in that accident. Unfortunately, the driver is okay, but it's really causing a headache, especially for all those morning drivers right now. So if you take over to the map, you can see exactly how long that drive time is right now. Oh goodness. I mean, the most I've seen is 100 minutes, so at least 1 minute has been shaved off, I suppose, but it's at more than an hour and a half right now. So headache is putting it lightly. If you head up north, there is another crash that's causing a little bit of delays up here. So 2 lanes are blocked on 270 eastbound after York. That's backing up traffic to 25. That means going westbound 270 from 70 to 25, running at about 30 minutes. There is obviously some other slowing in this area, other backups. More typical for this morning, less because of these accidents, but 2 areas that if you can, I would avoid this morning, Lisa.
Yeah, so if there's late folks at the morning meeting, we know why, right? Yeah.
If anyone's late to work, that makes sense.
It does. It's a beautiful start to our day, though. The roads are dry, at least across the state, and you're going to find some much drier conditions compared to what we saw, of course, this past weekend. Upper 60s right now downtown and out at the airport. Winds are at around 5 to 15 miles per hour. A pretty good-looking pool forecast for those kids that still have a little more summer break left. We're going to be at about 85 degrees by noon and then low 90s right around 4 o'clock. Lots of sunshine today. Boulder 92, Evergreen 10 degrees cooler. Estes Park, you're going to be at about 80 and then near 90 close to Parker and Aurora. Statewide, our western slope is pretty warm. In fact, as you get up into spots like Steamboat and Craig, we're going to be at right around 90 and then some triple-digit heat out west. It's going to stay pretty hot and dry here, you guys, through Thursday. I'll show you when those afternoon storms return and what to expect for this next coming weekend.
Well, we will learn more today about the changes taking place already within the Aurora Police Department. The city's consent decree monitor will hold a public meeting to talk about its first oversight report. Denver 7's Christian Lopez joins us with a preview because the report shows the police department is cooperating with the changes so far.
That first report came back just a week ago. Today, the community will have the opportunity to attend a public meeting where they can learn more about these findings and ask any questions. The overall goal here is for the police and fire departments to continue making progress and gain the community's trust. After Colorado's Attorney General found the Aurora Police Department engaged in racially biased policing in September of 2021, the city agreed to a consent decree, which is a plan to improve policing and public safety practices. A monitor is helping police and fire make some big changes to use of force policies, training, bias, and other issues. The first report says police officers and firefighters have been cooperative and interested in implementing these changes, but the Aurora Police Department has to improve trainings, and the Use of Force Review Board has to improve investigative practices. So there is still a lot of work ahead, but a member of the Community Advisory Council believes that change is already happening.
What I'm hearing in community, and what I've even experienced myself with people reaching out to me as a member of the Advisory Council, is that people are saying, when I file a complaint against the Aurora Police Department, it's being taken seriously. Officers are being removed.
One of the incidents that prompted these changes was the death of Elijah McClain in 2019. The 5 officers and paramedics charged in that case will be appearing in court on Friday. That meeting tonight will take place at 6:30 at the Beck Recreation Center. Reporting this morning, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Christian, turning to the FBI raid at former President Trump's Florida resort. This morning, we know the Justice Department has at least 2 active investigations connected to Trump. One centers on efforts to overturn the 2020 election. The other involves the handling of classified documents. The National Archives says it previously retrieved some documents from Mar-a-Lago. The FBI could be looking into others still left behind there. Trump's attorney says he's been cooperating with federal agencies. Overnight, there were demonstrations at Mar-a-Lago both against and in support of former President Trump. Lenny Supal has the latest from Palm Beach.
We're about half a mile away from the former president's Palm Beach estate. The scene out here very quiet this morning, a stark contrast to what we saw late last night as crowds topping more than 100 people made their way to the Southern Boulevard Bridge that leads into Mar-a-Lago. This scene unfolding hours after the FBI executed a search warrant on the Palm Beach estate. We saw spirited yet passionate debate from people on both sides of the aisle. Some here to support the former president, calling this situation a political move to prevent the former president from potentially seeking office in the next presidential election. Others making it very clear they're against Donald Trump.
I love seeing these people come out here and they know that he's guilty of something and he's going to go down for this, and it's going to be a great day, man.
They should not be doing this. This is a disgrace.
Completely appropriate. How many crimes can you commit before you're held accountable?
They're very petrified about him announcing that he's going to run for president.
The crowd's gaining momentum late into the night. It's just a matter of time before we see what unfolds today. Reporting from Palm Beach, I'm Lenny Supal.
Well, our back to school week coverage continues. Today, 3 districts go back: Adams 14, Weld County, and Aurora Public Schools. Aurora held a community celebration on Sunday. The 14th annual back to school kickoff allowed families to meet their school's leaders, also get some free backpacks and school supplies, which we know are just so expensive this year. I know you and I have already gone shopping, and school supplies more expensive than ever. The only thing that was still cheap for me, at least, was the folders. They were like 15 cents.
Okay, we just did the EduKit. You buy it in a box and everything just gets delivered to class, and takes some of the stress
and
out.
I'm sure the cost of that was up too. Yeah. Denver 7's Veronica Acosta joins us with how districts are stepping up to support their students and teachers with higher costs.
Markers, crayons, notebooks, those are on those back to school lists pretty much every year, so that hasn't changed. But what has changed this time around is likely the price of those items and how much money are in pockets to go ahead and buy them. So a lot of tough conversations happening not only in Colorado homes, but really all across the country regarding what families can afford as school picks up this year. We spoke with administrators and teachers at the Cherry Creek School District last week about how they're navigating this situation. One teacher told me he's heading into the school year making sure he has a couple of extra of those markers, a couple extra sets of crayons as well for students whose parents might have had to skip out on certain things as we start this year. Now, the district superintendent told me this year they're putting a big emphasis on helping families get whatever they need as soon as they ask for that help.
I would start with your classroom teacher because they know you the best, and then that teacher can have a conversation with the administrator, and then we have different support systems inside of the school district. Right now, when times are tough, finances are tough, that's just something we do.
And Smith mentioned that some schools, they do supply drives within the Cherry Creek School District. He said that's one way of maybe getting all of the items that your child might need. But then there's other school districts like Aurora's, for example, that has a dedicated foundation for teachers who much of the time pay out of their own pockets to buy some extra needed supplies to go and get whatever they're missing as well. We're in Aurora this morning. I'm Veronica Acosta, Denver 7.
Well, in the aftermath of Sunday's spectacular flooding, some are saying the new flood mitigation changes to City Park Golf Course failed. Denver recently spent about $40 million on renovations to the golf course, and it was supposed to act as a retention pond when there's significant rain. However, that didn't stop neighboring streets from experiencing major flooding on Sunday.
As for this mess in the nearby Central 70 project zone, CDOT is investigating why drainage system pumps did not automatically turn on when heavy rain came down, causing that flooding. It stranded several drivers. Denver firefighters had to rescue 11 people, some children. We spoke to a delivery driver who drove through during the flooding.
But there was a lot of cars that they looked like they were bogging down, and I was just like, I'm not stopping. Whatever I do, I'm not stopping, because this thing's just going to turn into a gigantic boat.
Yeah, so he made it through. In a statement, the contractor working on the project said an error in the drainage pump system appears to have prevented the pumps from turning on automatically. Once this was determined, Kiewit turned on the pumps manually. After the pumps turned on, the area was drained in a short period of time.
And we've seen so many heroic actions by Denver firefighters when they responded to the flooding, rescuing 11 people on the interstate and 18 people on side streets. We're starting to see more video of those rescues, including a baby pulled from those floodwaters there. Also, a firefighter lifting 2 small children, 1 in each arm. Fortunately, everyone was safe. Denver Fire Lieutenant J.D. Chisholm served on this same water rescue team for several years, and he told us this is what they train for every weekend.
To ensure while he's carrying those kids that he doesn't fall in the water, he's going to walk backwards to make sure that that's the safest method of getting those kiddos out. Anybody who's a parent or who has spent a lot of time with children knows the calmer we can be when we're talking to them, the calmer we can be to distract them from the actual events that are taking place. Then we can get them to a safer environment.
Yeah, that one rescuer carrying the 2 kids, he's also a triathlete, so obviously pretty fit and well trained.
Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
We want to put our goggles on as well as our gloves, and then we spray it our arms.
Still ahead, taking their science project to the next level, the impact Douglas County High School students are having in their community.
And the major milestone for the ownership team taking over Broncos country.